Divine greetings, beautiful kings and queens. I'm so happy you're here with me today. My name is Queen Aline, and I'm here to help you remember who you are through the path of raw living foods and cellular detoxification. And today I'm going to be sharing about my journey to the raw vegan lifestyle. How did I get here? It's been an interesting journey, I'll tell you that much. You know, they say that we either come to the path of raw living foods from inspiration or from desperation. I was definitely from a place of desperation. You know, I was so depressed, anxiety through the roof. I was having skin issues, digestive issues, hormonal issues, you name it. I was really not feeling my best. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, I was eating, I thought I was pretty healthy, you know, even before I went plant-based. You know, I had the regular foods like everybody was eating, you know, burgers, pizzas, pastas, chicken, all that stuff. But I was always having some fruits and veggies. Until I came to a point where I came to a breaking point, you know, basically with my digestion. That was really the biggest moment that I remember that made me turn to a more plant-based lifestyle. I couldn't go to the bathroom. How many people are so constipated? You know, how many people are living with chronic constipation, inflammation, diarrhea, all these issues? And, you know, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I thought everybody was going through it, and it really had to come to a point of being so painful. I was so bloated. I was so uncomfortable in my body and pain that I decided to do some research. And that's when I found out that you know, cutting out certain foods was going to help me feel better. So I tried that out for a little bit. I cut out animal products from my diet for a few months at the time, and I started feeling better. And I went back to it. You know, my journey has been one of back and forth. I did not just cut it cold turkey. I did not just, you know, jump into this right away. It was definitely a lot of back and forths. So I want to encourage anybody who's watching to know that, you know, this path could take many years. You know, it takes a long time to get to our goals. And those goals might be different. You know, maybe your goals are not to be 100% raw vegan or even 100% plant-based, but I'm here to help you to know that you can do it and to know that every change will bring about more change. So it's good to start somewhere. But what really turned me on to the raw foods, you know, I had some inspirations, of course. I had Dr. Sebi, who was really great inspiration. I got introduced to Dr. Robert Morse and to Fully Raw Christina, Karen Calabrese. Those are some of the ones that really lit me up to this path. Arnold Ehret as well, the mucusless diet healing system. So I started dabbling in plant-based. I was vegetarian, still having some eggs and cheese, but I was starting to feel better. My bowels were moving more. I was feeling a little bit less depressed. I was starting to feel more alive. And then I saw the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, where he heals himself with a juice cleanse. So right away, that was the first time I heard about juice cleansing, and my dad and I, we jumped on board and we did a first juice cleanse. It was 10 days, and it really helped us both feel so much better. And that was the first time, I guess, I had my first like raw week, right? And I felt electric. I felt like my body was coming alive, my mind was more sound, had clearer thoughts, had energy. So I was like, how is this even possible? You know, I was under the impression that I needed all this protein and all these other foods to be feeling good and healthy. So that was like a huge paradigm shift for me to be on the raw living foods for 10 days and to feel that in my body I could feel so good. So something in me lit up, and I knew right away that this was the path, that the fruits, the plants, the herbs were there to help me come back to life. Basically, I needed to come back to life. I had, you know, I was suffering from addictions, alcohol, drugs, smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana. I was like really in an addictive state, and I didn't know how I was going to come out of it. So, you know, I dabbled in the detox periods. I would go to juice cleansing, and then I would go back to the drinking and the drugs, and I would go back to the juicing. And so I did a lot of back and forths for many years until I really solidified myself in this path, you know. So I have been raw vegan for 2 years now, since my first extended juice cleanse, which was 113 days. This was 2 years ago, almost. It was May of 2 years ago, and we're in March, so almost. And my first juice cleanse had been 8 years ago. So, I did a first juice cleanse. I recommend to always start with 3, 5, 7 days. And this really helps to reset the taste buds, because we're so addicted to these salty, sugary foods. And what the juice cleanse does is it resets the taste buds, and it also resets the gut microbiome, which is addicted to these foods, right? Our gut microbiome is resonating right now with whatever it is that we're used to feeding it. So if we're used to feeding it a lot of, heavy foods, chips, sodas, ice cream, processed foods, then that's what it's going to continue to crave, because we got parasites in there, we got bacteria, we got, different things going on that are so used to it. So in order to change that, we have to change the environment, and we have to completely change what we start putting into our bodies. So a juice cleanse is a very powerful, very, I would say, almost aggressive way to tune in to the raw living foods. This is really what did it for me, because I tried for 8 years to go raw, and I had a hard time doing it. I was including more raw, but I was always going back to the cooked tofu, to the cooked beans, to the rice, to the pasta, and I feel it's because my gut was so compromised. I had mucoid plaque in there, I had parasites in there, I had old undigested waste in there. Most people carry around a lot of waste in their system. I don't know how many pounds, maybe 10 up to 100 pounds of old waste, old poop that needs to come out. So a lot of the times when we think we're carrying around weight, we're really carrying around waste. So during a juice cleanse, we eliminate so much waste. I eliminated over 25 pounds of old waste and parasites, mucoid plaque in my first extended juice cleanse, which was 113 days. And I went that long because I was still releasing. So we keep on going until we stop releasing. So that's the goal there. And after that, I was just tuned into the fruits, to the veggies, and my whole being became different, right? I just tuned into it. There's other ways to go to raw as well, but that's just my personal journey, was a juice cleanse. I do have a video in my other videos about juice cleansing, so I invite you to check that out, and also how to refeed properly, because you want to refeed properly with fruit and do it in a sequence. You don't want to just go back to your old habits. It's important to, when we do these cleanses or a water fast or a juice cleanse, to let go, right? Where it's a process of letting go of certain foods that no longer serve us, that are, compromising our system, are clogging up our arteries, and, toxifying our lymphatic system. Our lymphatic drainage system has to detoxify. So that's really the goal in this process. So yeah, for me, it was I just didn't want to be depressed anymore. I had to get over these addictions. I just I was not even functional eating the way I was living. And now I understand it's because we are electric beings, and I made the connection between, I am what I eat. So if I'm eating dead, devitalized, depleted foods that are not full of water, not full of life force, then I'm going to be that. I'm going to be not life force. I'm going to be depleted and depressed and down. So we really are what we eat. And that's really my journey to raw, is realizing that if I wanted to change myself mentally, then I had to change myself physically. That is the foundation. So the food is the foundation for our spiritual awakening, for our life path. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't really know how I was going to do that. So, God really brought me to this path to understand what it means to change myself, and then to inspire and help other people change. So what else? What else? Oh my gosh, there is so much to talk about, because it's really been a powerful journey. It's been a spiritual journey of letting go and remembering who I am, remembering what I came here to do, and remembering what I'm meant to be consuming, what we are meant to be consuming. We're frugivores. We are here as frugivores. We're meant to be eating fruits, veggies, a little bit of nuts and seeds, and that's it, and there's just such a programming around what we're supposed to be consuming. And if we look at the state of the world, there's no coincidence why everything is happening as it is, and why it's so important for me to share on an individual level how we can all empower ourselves to be the peace within, to empower ourselves to change, to make the changes within, so that we can make the changes outside, right? People are full of parasites, they're full of mental parasites, physical parasites, dark entities, And we are a society of constipated people. And we cannot think straight if we're constipated. If our body is not good, then our mental isn't good. Then we act in certain irrational ways. We act in crazy kind of ways. We act in violent ways if we're consuming violence in our body. If we are harming ourselves with dead animal flesh that we are not supposed to be consuming. We are not supposed to be consuming dead animal flesh. I'm just going to say this. We're not supposed to be eating animal secretions like dairy, milk, ice cream. These things are highly toxic, highly acidifying. We're just not supposed to be eating them, you know? They cause cancer, they cause diabetes, they cause high blood pressure, cholesterol, like whatever the issue is, it comes from the food. It comes from the food and the toxicity from the substances that we put into our body. So, you know, cancer doesn't just pop up at some point. It's been a buildup of many years. So in terms of like preventing a cancer or even healing a cancer or healing diabetes, healing anything, whether it's a skin issue, Crohn's disease, it's all the same. The gut has to heal, the lymphatic system has to drain, and we have to reconnect, you know, reconnect to who we are, reconnect to God and what he wants for us, right? I love Genesis 1:29, you know, and God said, behold, I have put every herb-bearing seed that is upon the face of the earth, you know, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, and to you it shall be your meat, you know? I have given you everything. I have given you every herb-bearing seed. He says it. You know, this is there for us to be happy, to be joyful, to be the children that we are inside, you know, that we are born to be. We're not meant to be depressed. We're not meant to be sick and ill. This is like a creation of the society to keep us enslaved, to have us hooked on their pharmaceutical pills. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. I was on pharmaceutical pills. This is another one of my big whys. I was hooked on antidepressants. I was hooked on anti-anxiety, sleeping pills, you name it, mostly for my mental health issues. And they were like, you're going to need to take these for the rest of your life if you want to be well, if you want to overcome your addictions. And I took them and I was zombied out. I was not myself. I didn't feel like myself. I was like, this is not a way to live, you know? I just knew that there was another way. I felt it inside my soul. There was like a seed that was in there that was like, there's another way, you know, and I'm going to heal. I'm going to find it. So I got called to the path of plant medicine as well. I've done some pretty powerful psychedelics that have helped me on my path as well, which are all plant, which are all natural, you know, and they've been like lifesavers for me. They help me to expand my consciousness and connect to the divine, to see that I am powerful, you know, and I have so many gifts inside that have been buried. I felt like I was like in this cocoon, in this shell, and like, you know, in my shadows. And when I started, you know, eating more raw foods, I just started feeling better, you know. I just started feeling so much better. And that's what really made me stick to it. And it's been a journey. Definitely, like, I found it really hard when I didn't have anybody around me, when I was all by myself doing this. It's definitely challenging to do it on our own. So I encourage all of you to join our support community. You know, we have a free, you know, it's a donation base. If you want to give anything, you can. If not, it's completely free. Support community called Kings and Queens of Raw. It's on Facebook. And, you know, having a support community like that where we gather, where we talk about our issues or we talk about the detox symptoms is so helpful. So this is why I created it, because, well, first of all, I needed support. And, you know, I saw the need for others who are on this path as well, who wanted to gather and who felt so alone, because sometimes our family doesn't understand what we're doing. They think we're crazy. They think it's not healthy. We're going to die without the protein. These are all myths and programmings. So when I realized that, like, that made me feel like a badass, you know, that made me feel like a rebel to go against the grain, to go against society, to go against what the narrative is, that I need to be sick and ill and, you know, like on their pharmaceuticals, and, you know, to take the path that may be difficult at first. You know, yes, it's a path of sacrifice, but it's also the path of God. Like, it's the path of the Spirit. It's the path of Jesus. If you have ever heard of the Essene Gospel of Peace, this is also a really powerful book that I read that, you know, completely changed my life, because Jesus is an Essene. He was consuming raw living foods. He was a raw foodist, and so, but you won't hear about this in churches because they want to drink their wine and eat their corpses and all of that. So we have to reconnect to the true meaning of who Jesus is and what his teachings are, and the ancient teachings of the actual Bible, right? It's about detoxification. It's about, spiritual awakening. It's about the third eye. So yeah, the Essene Gospel of Peace really helped me out a lot as well, to anchor in my knowing, my knowing that this is the way we're supposed to be consuming and reconnecting. And I've seen it in so many people. I've been witness to, people shrinking tumors and overcoming their diabetes, coming off their medication with the help of juice cleansing, water fasting, eating more fruits and veggies, salads. Like, how simple is that? Right? But we have to heal the emotional as well. We have to heal the trauma that's underlying the food addictions. And when people tell me that, like, this is an eating disorder or this isn't healthy, like, no, anything other than this is an eating disorder, to me anyway, because I come from eating disorders. I was bulimic, I was anorexic, I was hospitalized for my eating disorders. And this is not the same at all, This is not the same at all, because I feel so much more expanded and free within the raw food kingdom, right? I don't restrict anymore. I don't count my calories no more. I eat however I want. If I'm juicing, then I'm drinking like 6 to 8 of these, which is like 4,000 calories, and I am not restricting at all. This has actually helped me overcome my eating disorders. So thank you so much for joining me today. My daughter just came in, so I'm going to end it right here. But thank you so much for joining me today. I will be making more videos like these and sharing my journey with the raw living foods and how I came here. And if you need any support, reach out to me or join our support community, Kings and Queens of Raw, with the link in the comments below. I love you all so much, and until the next one, I will see you soon. Take care.